Welcome to the It Girl Podcast, where we discuss living life like the It Girl. Our host, Erica Passy, brings on different guests to talk about their perspectives on all things It Girl lifestyle. She covers topics such as wellness, fashion, travel, and current It Girl trends. And now your host, Erica.
Welcome back, everyone, to the second episode of the It Girl Podcast. It's a production of the CLU podcasting class, and this is where we talk about all things It Girl. I am so excited to have you back here. Today I have a really, really fun episode for you guys because I have my guest, Reagan Lobsher, on. If you wanted to go ahead and introduce yourself right now.
I'm Reagan. I'm a junior here at Cal Lutheran University. I play softball here, and I'm an exercise science major. I've never done anything related to a podcast before, but I'm really excited. When I was little, I wanted to be famous, so I feel famous right now, so it's pretty cool.
That's so fun. So this is obviously just my second podcast, so we're both pretty new to this. So no worries, no pressure on either of us. But today we have a really, we have a fun podcast because, as she just mentioned, she is an exercise science major. And so we're going to be talking about some like health and wellness and a little bit of fitness related stuff and how it relates to the It Girl. And so first, I'm just going to open up with some basic questions for you, Reagan. My first one is, what is the It Girl concept to you?
So for me, I feel like an It Girl is a reflection of your own like personal goals and values, because like I feel like as, you know, individuals, we're always trying to grow and become like the highest version of ourselves. So when we look at someone else who is like something that we want to be and aspire to be like, you're like, that's it. So to me,
True.
That's like the It Girl like
Yes.
idea. So yeah.
I couldn't agree more, honestly. Like, I feel like that's why we oftentimes we consider the It Girl to be like an influencer, because that is someone who you can kind of like look up to, because everyone, even if you say you don't, a lot of people do have that small inkling of wanting to be famous.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's kind of like, it's just like a societal thing, you know? So we kind of like look up to influencers, but also I did just record another episode where I talked about this, and I asked myself the question, like, do you think anyone can be an It Girl, even if they're not necessarily famous? Like, you're just like walking around, maybe you're going to grab some coffee or you're going to like your fitness class or something like that, and you see a girl and you're like, oh, she's totally like an It Girl. Does that ever happen to you?
Oh my gosh, all the time, because I feel like, yeah, we're constantly like seeing things and like seeing people, and we're like, oh my God, like that's so cool. Like everyone, their individuality is something that like I feel like makes you an It Girl too. It doesn't have to be like having a platform or, you know, being famous and reaching as many people. I feel like just embracing like your own individuality and like, I don't know, like I feel like that's what everyone aspires to be, is, you know, the truest version of themselves. So
True. So yeah, you're what you're saying is that the It Girl is like very authentic.
Yeah.
Authentic to herself.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, that's what we kind of touched on that with Nico in my first podcast, and how the best version of an It Girl is when they're like super authentic.
Right.
And we've seen like this whole like shift in social media to like trying to be more authentic.
Yeah.
So then my next question is, what are some of your favorite It Girl trends?
I don't know. I feel like just going back to, you know, the whole individuality thing, I think the biggest and best trend is like embracing things that are like important to you, because that's something I love. Like when I'm meeting new people, making new friends, I love learning things that are important to them and like their values, and like it doesn't necessarily like have to be a trend, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of an example. It could just be like, I don't know, a type of food someone likes, or like maybe like a certain like outfit or like color they like to wear. Like I feel like the little things that people find like so fascinating and intriguing about life are really what makes them like an It Girl, you know, because once again, like that's them being themselves. What do you
True.
think?
And I feel like when people are themselves, that's when they're also the most confident.
Yes.
And the biggest, I feel like the biggest part of the it girl is confidence.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even if maybe you don't perceive yourself as confident, it's like about other people perceiving you as confident, and you know, your most true authentic self, and that's when you're like most confident, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's totally spot on, I feel like.
And I feel like, I don't know, like influencers like are meant to, you know, like inspire and influence people, but at the same time, like we don't look up to them because they're trying to be someone else.
Yeah.
It's like
true.
they have something about them that like, you know, grabs people's attention and makes them be like, oh my gosh, like she's cool, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that either.
Yeah, I was like kind of mulling that over, that whole concept, and I was like, what draws us, honestly,
Right.
to an it girl? It's such an interesting concept,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like, what sets them apart from everyone else? And I think a lot of the times maybe that's, you know, just people are afraid to be themselves.
Yeah.
And so it's the ones who can fully embrace themselves. They're the ones who stand out. And then
Right.
that's why, like, some people become influencers and other people are followers. you
Right,
know?
yeah.
That's literally the title.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I feel like it's cool to like think deeply about these things because also like in society and like in such a social media based world, we are so like drawn, like social media is literally meant to capture our attention and to, you know, like get us thinking a certain way that we don't really stop and think about why we're thinking these things. And I feel like the reason why we're drawn to things says so much about ourselves, and maybe it's a reflection of like the person we kind of are deep down, but we don't do anything about it because we can just watch someone else like live the life we want,
Yeah.
right? So
Living
I don't know.
vicariously through someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of my ethics class I'm taking right now, or it's like a philosophy class
Yeah.
of Black Mirror, and I watched the episode. I don't know if you've watched Black Mirror.
I haven't.
There's an episode on social media, and it gets you to think about a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I bet.
yeah,
I've heard good things about the show.
it's pretty cool. Yeah, I was always deterred from all the rumors I heard about the first episode, because if you know, you know. But if you don't even have to watch the first episode. They're all standalone episodes.
Oh.
It's not like a series technically, you know, like
Okay.
you don't have to like watch anything sequentially. So yeah, some of them are really interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm like the worst at watching shows. I fall asleep every time. But
You want to know what show I just started, and it's like the best show ever, guys.
what is it?
It's Emily in Paris.
Oh my gosh. I watched that. I hate her.
What?
She pisses me off. Like, like, I just don't like, I don't know. Like, everything she does just irritates me. So then it
Really?
made me want to watch it because I'm like,
Yeah. Okay, I
I
get
don't
that.
know. I don't know.
There are certain things about her that are just so annoying. So it's like, why are you such a tryhard?
Yes.
Why do you need everyone to love you?
Mhm.
I mean, I kind of get it, but it's like
we get it, but like,
we get it, but it's like when you're watching it, it's like so annoying.
it's not it.
It's not it.
But she is the it girl. And
She
other,
is-
There's certain things like you could do an episode on her. Like, there's so
True.
many things
An
about
analysis of Emily in
her.
Paris.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think that might be the next episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
We might have to do it.
Okay, so on to the next question. Who is your favorite it girl of the moment?
Kind of going back to Emily in Paris, one of my best friends from home is studying abroad in London right now.
Oh, fun.
And I keep seeing like there's just so much about this that like why she's an it girl. So
Yeah.
her name's Anna, and she
Shout
like
out. Shout out to your
shout out
friend.
Anna Larson if you're watching this. But basically she's like one of the most caring people ever, right? And like we've been like best friends since middle school. She has so many friends, so many people love her and everything. But when she got to college, I feel like she kind of really started valuing like herself and, you know, like putting her like wants and needs before everyone else.
We love that for her.
Exactly, because like I don't know, people expect, especially as women, expect us to be so like catering to others' needs, and like if you don't want to do something that someone else wants to, everyone gets like pissed and like acts like you're, you know, like rude or whatever.
Oh, I definitely had first-hand experience with that like a month ago, but we're not going to get into that.
Oh, I think
It's some hot tea, but anyways.
But yeah, so I feel like when she got to college, because we don't really like FaceTime or talk too much, but whenever we like see each other in person, we just really like go over everything.
Those are the best types of friendships.
Right? So every time we see each other, like she'll tell me all like the stuff she's been through, and like I don't know. I just really like, she's an it girl to me because like I wish I could do that, because I feel like I'm so nice in like situations where like I don't really, it's like doesn't really serve my best interest.
Yeah,
true.
true.
And she really just started doing what she wants. And it's funny when people get mad about it, because why are you getting mad? Like, you would do the same.
Yeah.
So now she's out in London. She's like, you know what? I'm just going to take a semester abroad.
Being unapologetic, loving her life.
Living her best life.
Wow.
So that's so it. And like, oh my gosh. I just like, I wish I could do something like that. I feel like that's like, the next step of like where I want to go personally. Like, just becoming more like true to what I want, and like worrying more about like my opinions on others rather than like worrying about their opinion on me,
Yeah.
Because like I feel like, I don't know, I just think like so much and like care so much about like what other people think that how are you being your true self, if you're like worrying about all that. So
yeah, we actually just talked about that in my philosophy class, so going back to that class. But yeah, so we just talked about like the concept of like the look,
right,
and how other people, we're always thinking about how other people are perceiving us,
right.
But apparently like my teacher was talking to us about how like as you get older, you just like slowly, that starts to like kind of fade out of your system, and you start realizing like other people actually like aren't looking at you.
Don't care, yeah.
They don't care. Like, they're not actually thinking about you as much as we think that they are.
Yeah.
And that's just like the narcissism in us, like
yeah,
we just think that we're like the most important people on planet Earth.
as we should.
Yes, as it girls,
it's really, yeah. But it's not that deep.
Yeah, it's really not.
Yeah.
And so I think once you like start framing yourself in like that mindset, then it's like so freeing, you know, and then you can start like, you really start to like build this like confidence, and you start thinking like, oh, like, I don't have to give a crap what anyone else thinks.
Exactly. Yeah. And then I feel like you learn so much more about the world around you when you're allowing yourself to like become, have more attention to like the things around you rather than like, yourself.
Exactly.
Because there's so much to learn out in the world.
Oh,
so much to take in.
So much to experience.
But if you're always in your head, you're just missing out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, little message to myself. But, yep, shout out to Anna.
Yeah.
She's inspiring me every day.
Okay, so now transitioning into the next section of our podcast tonight, we're going to be talking a little bit more about health, wellness, and the fitness side of, the It Girl topic. So to start off, I'm just going to introduce the whole idea. So when thinking about health and wellness specifically, there's this whole idea on social media going on right now about balance and how balance is key. And it honestly kind of connects to what you were talking about earlier, and it's like kind of thinking about, really looking internally and thinking about, okay, what's good for me in the moment tonight? Like, do I want to go out, or do I want to stay in and just do self-care? Maybe, drink my tea and do a face mask, or do I want to go out and party? Because even sometimes, like, let's say you do a lot of self-care, sometimes you do need a night out, but also if you have a lot of nights out, you do need to stay in sometimes and like really just catch up, maybe do like a Sunday reset, or something like that. So what are your thoughts on that concept?
No, I think about this a lot, because I am the type of person who I love staying in. Like, I love like my alone time. And so a lot of the times, like, I have to get dragged to like come out, and then I end up having so much fun.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like, I know people who want to go out every night and, like never really like want to stay in. So I think it kind of like varies on a personal level. But I do think it's important to do both, because life is all about balance. And if you can't enjoy time alone, then I feel like you might have like some, I don't know, deeper things going on.
Yeah,
because
true.
like
kind of like when you're like, you've been in a long-term relationship, and then like the people who like literally get into another relationship like a month later, it's like you just don't know how to be alone.
Right.
Yeah, it's like it's honestly like, it's so important to like understand how to be alone with yourself.
Exactly.
And like sometimes people will like ask me, because so I booked my one-way ticket to Spain for the summer, and people, anytime I ever tell them about it, they're always like, oh my God, that's so terrifying, like, aren't you scared, like, what are you gonna do out there and all this stuff? And I'm just like, no, I'm not scared, because I'm not scared to be by myself.
Yeah.
Like, it is okay. So little small detail I left out, I'm going solo, and so that's what's like freaking everyone out. They're like, oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, sure, there's like the whole safety aspect of
Yeah.
it, like that I do understand them asking, but I think on a deeper level they're also asking me like, how are you able to go by yourself, essentially, like with your own thoughts to keep you company, you know,
Yeah.
like no friend? And it's like, yeah, sure, I would love to have a friend go with me, but you know, I'm 20, and like, how easy is it to find a friend to go with me to Europe, you know, across the world?
Yeah, right.
And so, yeah, that's just like something that a lot of people, like, they initially, that's like their first thought. They're just
Right.
like, how are you going alone? And it's like, that's just because they probably don't spend enough time alone, just like even here, like
Yeah.
in their own home, like by themselves. Like, people just don't know how to be alone anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I think you learn so much like about yourself and about like the type of people you want to attract by spending so much time alone. Like, I don't know, I feel like even like relationship wise too, you know, you don't realize like the flaws that you might have, or like, you know, I feel like being alone, you really, not only do you become like a better version of yourself, but you decide like the type of person you want to be to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're able to be your own best friend, like, you realize you don't really like need anyone, right?
Yeah.
And if you can do so good alone, then if you're able to find someone who, you know, is able to like be worthy of your time, that your precious alone time, then that's how you know like they're worth it to you. But we just live in a world where I feel like we are always like so pressured to like be with people like all the time.
Yeah.
Where it's like it makes us lose touch of our own like individuality, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, it's kind of like scary, but it's also something you don't really think about unless you like force yourself to.
Exactly.
But at the same time, like, I don't know, I do wish, because I am very like hyper independent, so
Yeah.
sometimes I wish I would allow myself to just like go out more and, you know, like just trust myself to have a good time and not worry like about the other things, more productive things I could be doing, because like you need to have a little fun too.
True. Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, going out, that does create like a sense of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And confidence, like you said, like it's so important in like your day-to-day life and like becoming like the best.
Confidence is key.
Yeah, it's so important in like every way. But
yeah, because confidence ties to everything. It's like the whole
Yeah.
idea of like self-love. You're supposed to like learn how to love yourself so that you can love others.
yeah,
But also like confidence is just so key to everything in life, because like you need to, like, it helps you like interact with other people in social situations, but it also helps you when you're also like alone too, because
Exactly.
it's like, if I wasn't confident, I wouldn't take myself out on solo dates, but those are like one of my favorite things to do. I love to
Exactly.
go grab like a smoothie by myself, or go to get ramen by myself, or something like that. Like, it's so fun, and it translates into every aspect of your life.
no, for real. And like the other thing too is like you are able to have so much more confidence when you know like who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because how are you going to be confident if you don't know like what you're being confident about? I think
Yeah.
another good thing about being alone is like, I don't know if you ever like do like journaling and stuff, like
Mhm.
writing out your thoughts.
I used to journal every day because of the Vampire Diaries.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my
I'm
God.
sorry.
You missed out. You missed out on a key like middle school moment.
Oh, I know. What
But
was I doing?
basically the main character, one of her big things, at least in the first few seasons, is like she journals every day. She journals everything down, and so that was like inspiring to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna journal every day, and it also, it's so therapeutic. It's so helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I do it like, I wish I did it more, but I feel like I can always go back and like, I just normally like write like positive things like I think about myself, or like things that are bothering me too. Just become like more aware of like my emotions and my like feelings and
Yeah.
stuff, and to remind myself of all like the good things I have in life, because
like positive affirmations, but also like
Exactly.
maybe manifestations.
yes, yeah, because being like grateful for everything you have is one of the main ways I think like you can be happy.
Yeah. No, I've been like, I've been trying so hard to work on like gratitude, you know, like making it a more conscious effort.
Right.
Because I don't know if you know the TikToker Anna Paul.
I don't.
She is like one of the most grateful people in the whole world. Like, it's so wholesome. Like, she used to, I'm pretty sure I saw this in a TikTok, but her whole thing is that, like, so she grew up poor. I'm like pretty sure that this like really poor, and she's from Australia. And essentially now she's like an influencer, and she's super rich because she does OF.
Oh, okay.
If, you know. But anyways, yeah, so she does that, and so she makes bank off of that, and so now she has like a bunch of money, but she's like super grateful for everything she has, and she's super grateful for all the experiences she gets to have. She can like travel the world now, and she like literally for Christmas she gave, I think like it was like 10 families, like she sent them $500 each, just because she was like, I want everyone to have a good Christmas because I didn't always have a good Christmas, like, and she like wants to like just give away her money, and she's just such a good person, and so I aspire to be like her. Like, she is a really genuinely good like it girl,
right.
honestly,
yeah.
to aspire to be, and she like makes me think about how like I should be grateful every single day for something, and because that's how she operates. She's constantly thinking of like, oh, I'm so grateful for this moment right now, like I'm so grateful for this opportunity, I'm so grateful for these people, like,
right,
you know, that's just how she operates, and it's just so cool like to see like someone who's like constantly thinking about that, but she's so happy.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing about balance is like just in general in life, like you have to go through like some bad things, I feel like, to really appreciate the good. And
yeah, that's so true.
It's so hard, like I don't know, like in the moment, like something might happen to you and you're like, why? Like,
that's literally, I just wrote a blog post about it.
Really?
It's gonna come out in like 5 days, probably.
Okay.
Close to 5 days. But like, yeah, so I mean, oh my god, gross, I'm about to get vulnerable, but anyways. Yeah, I've just been kind of like going through some stuff like recently, you know. It's just like one of those seasons in life, like everyone goes through them, like you have some tough times, but then you also get to the good stuff, and so I feel like you have to have gone through a few of those seasons to even like be in the place where like during the tough time you know that there's gonna be good coming.
right, yeah,
You know, like the first few seasons that you have that, which like I think the first few times I was like cognizant or like really like understanding enough to like realize I was going through something like that was like in high school.
Yeah.
And so like by now I've been through a few of those seasons where it's like, okay, like life is kind of like crap right now, but like now I'm finally at the point where it's like I know that it's gonna get better.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so awesome that you're able to like recognize that, because like I feel like we get stuck in like almost like a self-pity situation a lot of the time, but like when you know that like things are gonna change eventually,
because they have to.
yeah, and you kind of have to like sometimes like laugh about it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, this sucks, like,
Yeah, like
but it would happen, like,
can it get any worse? And then it does, and then you're like, haha.
oh my gosh, I wasn't really like trying to find out. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, and I feel like once again, like going through stuff like that really does help you become the highest version of yourself, and I feel like that does relate to like the whole it girl concept, because like going through bad things makes you an interesting person. Like,
oh yeah,
personally, like I want to be the most interesting person I can be. Like, I want to put myself in like as many situations as I can, because like everything you go through like creates the person you're supposed to be,
and then you're authentic.
exactly. And like that's like life, I feel like, is all about picking the things that you think are important in your day-to-day life and like incorporating them into like your being and like the person that you are, which like is so powerful. Like I don't know, like I feel like when you wake up every day and realize that like you have the opportunity to make like a change in your life and to become like a higher version of yourself, like it's so, I don't know, it's so fun. And I feel like that relates to like fitness too, like as you were kind of like getting into like going to the gym, right? You work out one day, like you might not feel it, but like you know, like deep down, like it's gonna pay off like eventually. And I feel like that's a reflection of like everything in life.
Yeah,
you know.
Okay, so we totally just realized that we are running out of time, and we didn't even talk about like fitness or health or any of the stuff that we were really, I mean, we had a really good conversation today, and it was really awesome. But we also still want to make an episode for you guys about like health and fitness and wellness. So we're going to go ahead and record that right now. But for this episode, we are going to go ahead and do some closing thoughts. So did you have any last thoughts to like wrap up this conversation?
Not that any that I can think of right now. I mean, I think we covered a lot.
We covered a lot about balance in life, because balance is key, confidence is key, and everything kind of just interrelates. And so, for future episodes, I will be going over other It Girl topics. I might touch briefly on fashion again. I'll be talking about travel. I'll be talking more about confidence and social media trends and creating content and, everything It Girl related. So thank you again, Reagan, for coming on. I'll see you literally in the next episode that we're about to record. But everyone else will be able to hear it in 2 weeks. So come back for the actual episode on health, wellness, and fitness. And you can find all of my episodes on YouTube at It Girl Podcast channel. And then you can also find it under my Instagram bio at ERIIKA.3. I'm also on TikTok, so you can find me under the same handle. And essentially, you can find the audio through the link. It goes to my blog called My Life in a Golden Decade. But you go to the tab, and it's the third tab called It Girl Podcast. That's where you can find all of my content. Thanks for supporting, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the It Girl Podcast, a production of the CLU podcasting class. We appreciate all of your support and would love it if you would reach out to Erica on all social media platforms. You can find her on Instagram and TikTok at ERIIKA.3. Reach out and let her know what you would like to hear about next, or send in ideas for current trends you would like her to discuss. Thanks again. Look forward to talking to y'all next time.